Tonight, gender-neutral bathrooms on the Troy University campus.
And Troy Fest is right around the corner. Stay tuned. TrojanVision News starts now.
From the high-definition production center of Troy University's broadcast and digital network, Troy, Alabama's international university, this is Troy TrojanVision News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision News for April 22nd, 2016. I'm Sarah Singletary.
And I'm Haley Greathouse. Thank you for joining us this evening. Gender-neutral bathrooms have been thrust into the national spotlight recently, with legislation in North Carolina drawing protests and some national chains like Target taking a stand on usage of their restrooms. Sharnique McCarran takes a look at gender-neutral bathrooms at Troy and how you soon might be seeing them.
An increasingly popular form of campus activism at colleges across the nation is the support of gender-neutral or all-gender bathrooms that are to be inclusive and safer for people of all genders.
Gender-neutral, that's a term that a lot of people don't really understand, and what it is that it's a person who does not identify as male or female. So they don't want the pronouns of he, she, him, her. What they prefer is them, their, or they, because they don't feel that they're a guy or a girl, they are just a person.
The idea of gender-neutral or all-gender bathrooms can also be beneficial for people outside of the LGBTQ community.
I think it'd be very useful for families that are visiting. Say a parent needs to take a child into a bathroom and they don't need to go into a gendered bathroom. Say it's like a single father and his daughter, or a single mom and her son. It would just be a useful thing to have.
Over a dozen U.S. colleges have welcomed gender-neutral bathrooms, and more than 30 U.S. colleges have even adopted gender-neutral housing.
The reality or the possibility of us having gender-neutral restrooms is certainly very possible. We're going to begin doing assessment of all of our buildings that have restrooms in it that can be easily converted by changing some signage, and then we will continue to look at the other buildings that see what it's going to take to create gender-neutral restrooms in those buildings. So we'll be doing that beginning at the end of this semester for the summer and the fall semester.
Troy University does not yet have gender-neutral bathrooms. However, it does have a limited amount of undesignated bathrooms across the campus. Sharnique McCarran, Troy TrojanVision News.
As Reeves mentioned, Troy University should expect to see more gender-neutral bathrooms on campus by the fall semester.
Downtown Troy will be filled with arts, crafts, food, and fun as one of the biggest annual events in the city of Troy kicks off tomorrow morning. Austin Cofield gives us a preview of this year's Troy Fest.
The square in downtown Troy will be filled with arts and crafts this weekend as the annual Troy Fest will make its return. Organizers say this year could be one of the biggest yet.
This year's festival looks to be bigger and better than ever. We've had an increase in artists apply and kind of expansion of our farmers market area that we've been trying to kick off for the past couple years. Lots of great food vendors. We're really looking forward to a fun weekend.
Drinkard says that guests should expect to see a variety of art, some of which might not be considered typical.
One of the biggest misconceptions is that Troy Fest only has painters, and while painting is wonderful and a great expression of art, the variety of categories expands from jewelry to sculpture to traditional functional craft to stained glass to pottery, photography, and then within the painting category you have everything from formal portraits to folk art, self-taught art, and so the variety of art is very expansive.
And visitors will get the chance to see some of the art being created by the visiting artist, including one unusual demonstration.
I think the demonstrating artist is one of the most interesting things about the festival because you can see a finished piece and it's pretty, but if you didn't see how it was created, you may not have the same appreciation for it. So those artists that take time to demonstrate are really showing people and families, especially with smaller children, how the art is created. This year we actually have a proclaimed artist that's a pig.
In addition to the art, Drinkard says that there will be a variety of activities and entertainment for visitors to enjoy.
The festival is definitely fun. We have music from both the gazebo on the square and the big entertainment stage that's in the parking lot adjacent to Bird's Drugs, and full of dancers and singers and bands and jazz music and a great variety there. So the whole atmosphere from the kids and families to art and food, entertainment, is a really fun and free festival.
Austin Cofield, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Troy Fest is this Saturday and Sunday on the square in downtown Troy. Music varies from culture to culture, and learning about different music might lead to a better understanding of another culture.
In this week's Chinese Corner, the Confucius Institute explored traditional Chinese music. Jordan Elston has the details.
Troy University students had the opportunity to learn about traditional Chinese music at Thursday's Chinese Corner.
We have two parts. The first part is general introduction of Chinese traditional music, and the second part is music diversity from region to region in China.
Huang says that culture plays a large role in the production of traditional Chinese music.
I think it's totally different. The different instruments and different scale, and I think it depends on the culture. It's different.
Huang also says that it is important to protect the history of the traditional Chinese music.
I think is to protect them. You know, some old folk music and old drama are gradually dying away, so we need to protect them. It's very, very precious treasure for us.
One student describes his experience.
Well, I've always had a real interest in Chinese music. I grew up in Southeast Asia, so I heard a lot of this kind of music growing up. So I heard about it and I just came over. I popped on over because it makes me feel a little homesick. It's kind of fun. I loved the different regions. How the different regions very much the way the music sounded was very much based on their environment, and it brought up a new idea. Maybe a lot of our music is based on our environment too. And also just the cool fusion styles they showed at the end. I love those.
This was the final Chinese Corner for the spring semester. Jordan Elston, Troy, TrojanVision News.
There will be one last Chinese Corner this semester, held at 3 p.m. next Thursday at the Confucius Institute in Bibb Graves Hall.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. State Auditor Jim Ziegler says he is ordering Governor Robert Bentley to testify before him regarding if state funds were used to facilitate a relationship with a former top staffer. However, it is unclear if the state auditor has any power to enforce such an order.
City officials say they plan to illuminate Birmingham City Hall and surrounding city buildings in purple light as a tribute to Prince. The city said in a statement that the lighting will begin tonight and that lights will remain purple for the rest of April. In Birmingham, Mayor William Bell said the lighting of the city buildings is our small way to pay tribute and to say thank you for touching lives.
Also out of Montgomery, the Alabama legislature has given final approval to the education budget and 4% pay raise for teachers. Bentley praised the passage of the bill, saying the state leaders are sending a message of support to our invaluable teachers and other support staff.
Still to come on Troy TrojanVision News, the baseball team gets ready for a 3-game series over the weekend. Khadijah Torbert has Troy's preparation for the Mavericks coming up in sports.
And the investigation into Prince's death continues. We've got that story plus more after the break, so stay with us.
Thousands of fans mourn the death of music superstar Prince. I'm Omar Villafranca in Chanhassen, Minnesota. The latest on the investigation coming up.
If a child with autism is missing, immediately search places that pose the most danger, such as nearby water and busy streets. For more ways to help, visit missingkids.com/aware.
Through the years, trends and styles may come and go, but the important things remain the same. Generation after generation, consistently there, creating moments and memories to last a lifetime. Like a true friend, the national parks have always been there for you, and now you can be there for them. Support the National Park Foundation and help protect America's treasured places.
Now, the latest in Trojan sports on Troy TrojanVision News.
The brackets have been made and released for this week's Sunbelt Tennis Championships, and the Trojan men are the tournament's defending champions at the number 3 seed and opened the tournament just 2 hours ago against the number 6 seed Appalachian State. The winner of that match will move on to Saturday's semifinal to take on the winner of number 2 South Alabama and number 7 Georgia Southern. Quarterfinal win to none other than the women's tennis team. The Troy women's tennis team won its first match of the 2016 Sun Belt Championship earlier today. Troy, who is the number 5 seed, beat the number 4 Georgia Southern 4-1 at City Park Pepsi Tennis Center. Starting with the doubles match, Troy cruised to a win easily after a 6-1 win by Alicia Rodriguez and Nancy Karaki, and also by Euphrilia Herlina and Sine Ota, winning with a 6-4 win. In singles play, Georgia Southern was first to get on the scoreboard, but Troy easily dominated the bottom of the lineup and grabbed wins at number 4, 5, and 6 to take the match by help of Louisa Ferrati, Emily Bujan, Herlina, and Karaki. Although the Trojans lost to the Eagles earlier this season, the Trojans dominated and have advanced to its second semifinal in 3 years under head coach Rawil Osisi. The Trojans will now take on the number 1 seed, the number 48 Georgia State, on Sunday at 10 a.m. Coming off a hard-fought loss against the University of Alabama on Tuesday, and just 5 weeks of Sunbelt play left to the Troy baseball team is looking to strike out their next opponent as they look forward to having home field advantage over the Texas UT Arlington this weekend, as Coach Mark Smart explains.
Now it's kind of a home-away, home finish. So we host Arlington, good ball club, always a challenge. We've yet to get a series from them in their first 3 years in the league, so I look forward to getting that first series win against the Mavericks.
The 3-game series weekend against the Mavericks will begin tonight at Riddle Pace Field at 6 p.m. Saturday's matchup is set for 3 p.m., and the series final Sunday is set for noon. After a tough midweek loss on Wednesday, the Trojan softball team will look to fast pitch their way to victories this weekend when they welcome Georgia Southern to Troy Softball Complex for a 3-game conference series. The Trojans can tie Georgia Southern for 3rd place in the conference standings with a 3-game sweep this weekend. The doubleheader first pitch is Saturday at 1 p.m. and the final game of the series and senior day is set for Sunday at noon. The men's golf team is preparing for Sunbelt Conference play over the weeks to come. Head coach Matt Terry says the strikes are high because every team wants to win, but his team will definitely bring their best A game to the conference matchups.
Anything can happen at a conference championship, and teams tend to get up for it, just like anything else, and we've got to go down there and get to work and be the best Troy we can be and not try to be anybody else, and each person do what they do best and not try to do what each other does, just themselves, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to be myself, and we're just going to keep playing just like it's any other day.
The Sunbelt Conference Championships began on April 24th through 27th at the Raven Golf Course in Miramar Beach, Florida. If you thought the women's basketball team was done making announcements since their season ended after becoming Sunbelt Tournament champions and making its second NCAA appearance in program history, well, we've received more good news from them. Today, announced by head coach Chanda Rigby, the Troy women's basketball program, the defending Sunbelt Tournament champions, will play 2 games in Puerto Rico on November 25th and 26th, making history again as the games will be the first regular season contest for the Trojans outside of the U.S. in program history.